We are live. Welcome.
Yep. Hi, everyone.
Hello, everyone. So this is Ledger Support.
Yep.
And we are back for another edition of live support, but this one is a little special. Today we've got Roy here. Hi, Roy.
Yep. Hi.
Yep. How's it going?
Nice to be here.
Yep. We've got Pringe off camera. Hi, Pringe.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, Pringe is here. He's going to be in the chat answering your questions. But today's a little special. So, Roy, why don't you explain what we're going to do today? And
Yep. Absolutely. So, hey, everyone. Today we're going to be talking a little bit more about Cardano specifically. Just a few weeks ago, we actually added Cardano staking to Ledger Live. Great to have. And we want to kind of discuss how that actually works and how you yourself can do this as well. Now, before we start that off, however, we do want to always give that general reminder. Please be careful with your 24-word recovery phrase. They should never be entered on a computer, smartphone. You shouldn't take any pictures of this. Whenever you enter it into any kind of device that can connect to the internet, it is vulnerable. So please only store it on a piece of paper or a metal backup, and make sure it stays well hidden as well, that no one has access to it. Now, with that out of the way, let's actually get started. Now, when you want to manage Cardano, your first step is always going to be installing the app for Cardano. So for that, we actually will need to go to Ledger Live. Let's go there now. So as you can see, I have my Ledger device right here, and here we are in Ledger Live. So first things first, let's go to the My Ledger tab so that we can install the application. Now, first thing that I need to do, and you can see this on my device right now, I need to allow the manager. So I do that with both buttons. Now here we go. So the My Ledger tab is loading. Now, one thing to keep in mind, you can see that my device actually is not running the latest firmware. We do recommend everyone to have the latest firmware because it always makes sure that you have the most up-to-date applications for your Ledger device as well. That being said, let's go ahead and go for the Cardano app. So I type ADA, and it should actually already be installed on my device. Perfect. And you can find it right here. So that saves us a little bit of waiting. Now, next up, we'll be adding a Cardano account. So for this, we can either do that here in the My Ledger tab. You can see right there that there is an Add Account button here. But there is a second way of doing it too. You can also go to the Accounts tab right here, click on Add Accounts, and proceed from here. Now here in the search bar, I can type ADA or Cardano. Whoops, let me not mistype that to Dad. Here we go. So I would click there and press continue. Now, Ledger Live is giving a prompt to my Ledger device to open the Cardano application. So I'll press both buttons. And now Ledger Live is going to synchronize with the Cardano blockchain and see if I already have existing balances. Now you can see here that there are indeed two existing accounts, one with about 500 Cardano as a balance and one with 10. I'm going to add both of them, but of course I want to make sure that I can tell these two apart. So what I'll do is I'll give them a quick name. So the first one I'm going to call ADA Staking, as it is currently staking. We'll take a closer look at that account in just a moment. And then for the second, I'm going to call it ADA Test, because I will be using this one to do a few tests as well.
Can you call your accounts anything you want? Or?
Yep, you can absolutely call it anything you want. And if you have more than one Ledger device, I would always recommend naming it in a way where you can easily tell which account belongs to which device.
Like Nano S ADA, for example, Nano S ADA, like things like that.
Exactly, just so you can differentiate between the two quite easily.
And we can see, Roy, you've got 3 accounts here, but can you add as many accounts as you want, or?
So that is an excellent question. Now, you can see that I can currently add 3 different accounts, but not 4, for example. That's because I can only add a new account when the previous one has had a transaction history. Now, the ADA staking account clearly has had a transaction history because it has a balance. Same thing with the ADA test. But you can see for Cardano 3, it says add new account. So this one didn't have a transaction history yet, and that's why I can only add that account and not a new one.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep. So if that Cardano 3 account at some point has a transaction history, I can add a 4th account after that.
Okay, so what do we do now?
All right, so now we actually have the two. We click on Add Accounts, and well, there they are. You can actually see them showing up right now.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and just take a look at the Cardano accounts. Here are the two, to be precise. And we are going to use the Add a Test account to do a few things here. So let's go there now. So here you can see the main menu, you can see the balance. If I scroll a little bit further down, I can also start seeing the transaction history just a bit further, and there we are. So here you can see some operations that have happened on this particular Cardano account. That being said, let's go back to the top of the Cardano account, because we want to first start receiving some more Cardano. So the way that we're going to do that, I have some Cardano on Binance. I'm going to send this to my Ledger device. Now, first things first, if I want to do that, I need to verify my receiving address. To do that, there are two ways that I can do that. I can do that by either pressing the Receive button right here, or I can click Receive right here. One little benefit, it's really minor, but still more convenient. If I click Receive here, the right account is immediately selected. So that's a neat little bonus. Now, something that I also want to show here is right now, I've closed my Cardano app on purpose, because if I click continue, I just want to show you that Ledger Live will again send a request to my Ledger device saying, hey, you need to open the Cardano app. If at this point I did not have the Cardano app installed yet, I would actually get the option to install it right from this screen as well.
Oh, okay, that's convenient.
Very convenient indeed. Yep. So at this point, let's go ahead and open the Cardano app by pressing both buttons. So this is just confirming it. Now at this point, I'm going to start receiving an address on my computer, and here on my Ledger device, I'm also going to see verify address, make sure it agrees with your computer. This is kind of unique for the Cardano app. Usually you would just immediately see your address. But the Cardano app instead first gives you a little bit of a warning saying, hey, double check it. Now sorry, a little bit of background noise. Now, in order to continue here, I press both buttons again. You'll see it says spending path. I can actually ignore this part. It's for more advanced users. Staking key, same thing. So I'll also proceed with that one. But here is the important part. So right now, I need to compare what's on my computer screen versus what's on my Ledger device.
Okay, and you're using like double press on the device, right?
Correct. Yes, indeed. Now, there is a particular importance to verifying this. See, the problem is a computer is an online connected device. You know, I can easily go to a browser, open and surf the internet and all of that fun stuff. However, that also means it's vulnerable to hacks. See, someone could potentially hack my computer and change what's displayed on my computer. So I should not trust this address that I'm seeing right here. It could be fake for all I know.
Okay.
However, what is shown right here on my Ledger device, that's definitely correct.
Okay.
And that's why you need to compare the two addresses with each other.
So always trust the device, but not necessarily the app, right?
Exactly. Trust your Ledger device, not Ledger Live.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do now is just quickly take a quick read. Now I am seeing that the characters are matching. Now it says 1 out of 2 because I need to press right to see the remainder of the address.
Okay.
And I can see that indeed this is actually matching with what's on my computer.
And you're checking like every single character, right?
Yes, you should indeed check every character. If only one character is different, that is already a different address. As a matter of fact, a pretty common type of attack that we see, especially on, for example, Polygon, is what we call address poisoning, where the first few characters and the last few characters might match, but the rest does not. So always do check the address quite well, especially if it concerns a larger amount.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. So I can now see that this one matches, and I'm going to press copy. Now here, there's actually another neat little thing that Ledger Live does. So I actually copied something into my clipboard. Now Ledger Live actually checks if what's in your clipboard versus the text that's right here, if that matches. If it doesn't match, it would actually say that there's a clipboard mismatch. There would be a little bit of red text here saying if that's the case.
Oh, okay.
In that case, do not use that address. Contact us because you might have a malware on your computer that is trying to replace your address.
How do people get malware on their computer exactly?
There can be so many ways. Some of those can actually be completely out of your control, where, for example, you might have been hacked and someone placed a little program. You might have gone to a website that probably you shouldn't, unfortunately, have. And even a fake email, someone could have attached that. So there are a lot of ways. As a matter of fact, if you leave your computer unlocked at work, someone might come with a USB stick, plug it into your computer, and put a malware on there. Now, I'm not saying that's likely. Normally you wouldn't expect that from your colleagues, but it is an option. So, prefer to be transparent there.
It can happen.
Exactly, it can happen. We don't expect it, but it can happen.
Okay.
As we always say, don't trust, verify. Now, that being said, I've copied this address, and now I'm going to go to Binance. So I have already logged into Binance, and we're going to go there right now. So here we are. So you can see that I already have a Cardano balance, and I want to withdraw that one to Ledger Live. So in order to do that, I need to click on Withdraw. Now here there's actually a little bit of an important part, because you're going to see Network mentioned below. If I click here, you're going to see that I have two different options. One says Cardano underneath, and one says BNB Smart Chain. Now, if you want to stake Cardano, you need to use the Cardano option.
Okay.
The other option, the BNB Smart Chain, is technically not actual Cardano. Instead, it's a token that represents Cardano. So yeah, there is a difference between these two.
Okay, so BSC is like a different network, correct?
Correct. It's indeed a different blockchain entirely.
Okay.
And the native asset of that blockchain is also not Cardano. Instead, it would be BNB.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
So here we want to select Cardano, right? Because
Correct.
we're sending to Cardano accounts on the Cardano network.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's go.
All right. Now, that being said, let's actually go ahead and paste the address. Now, at this point, I can again double check with what's on my Ledger device. That's also why I didn't verify it yet on my device. I kept it here so I can still double check what's on my device versus what's now shown in Binance. So that's an extra little check that you can do.
And so it's no big deal that the address is not verified in Ledger Live, right? The address is valid because it's showing on your Ledger device.
Exactly. Trust what's on your Ledger device, not what's in Ledger Live. Exactly.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Now, of course, I want to select the amount. We're just going to go ahead and do max.
Ooh, okay.
Yep. We're going to withdraw everything from Binance.
Let's do it.
So here we go. Now, you will notice that I'm selecting 41, but under the receive amount, it says 40.2. That's because just above we see a network fee. Now, this, on the one hand, is a transaction fee, just the normal one that you would have on the blockchain, plus a little bit that Binance also charges. Overall, 0.8 Cardano is not too much.
It's okay. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, at this point, we're going to click on Withdrawal. And at this point, I'm also going to have to enter my two-factor authentication.
All right, let's do it.
Yep. So normally, just for the record, here I can again double check, make sure that everything matches.
So all the characters.
Yep. And this actually does look good.
Okay.
So now I can press continue. And here is where the 2FA comes in. Now keep in mind, what I'm about to do, normally you don't show that to anyone. So for security reasons, don't do that. In this case, it is kind of a Binance account that I don't use a lot, so it's okay. Let's click on the Authenticator app. And I'm just going to go ahead and press the number. Oh, whoops, my bad. Tick, 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 and there we are.
Successful.
And second for email.
Email.
Now, don't forget to press get code here.
Ah, right.
Because otherwise you won't actually receive the verification code. I have fallen into that trap before personally, so, you know,
Good
speaking
thinking.
out of experience here. All right, so I just got an email. And what's pretty sweet, in this email, I will again see the address where it would go to, the amount that would be sent, and all of that fun stuff.
Cool.
Now I have the code here, so I'm going to go ahead and enter that. And here we go. At this point, the withdrawal request has been submitted, and it may take 15 to 30 minutes until I actually receive it.
Okay.
Now here, I can indeed click on completed. And voila, we are done with the withdrawal.
Perfect.
As a matter of fact, exactly. We can even see that it's currently being processed. And you can again see the address there as well. So, pretty sweet.
Cool.
That is how you would withdraw from an exchange.
Roy, like how long does it take? Like, so I've sent my Cardano from the account, like how long will it take to arrive in my wallet?
That's a good question. So it really depends on what you're using. So when you're looking at an exchange, for example, there is a good likelihood that it'll take a little bit longer because what they often do is batch transactions together. The reason for that is it will save the exchange on some fees as well. Because rather than only sending to you particularly, they will probably send one transaction to probably like 10, 20, 30, maybe even 50 different users at the same time.
Okay.
It just helps them to save on fees.
Okay, so that's good to know. So there might be a delay of like a few minutes to maybe 10 minutes, like ish.
The last one I saw with Binance personally, that's just personally, maybe it's not the standard, but that was 30 minutes.
30 minutes, okay.
Yep.
So you can expect like quite significant delay.
You can indeed, yes.
Okay. But it depends on the exchange, I'm guessing as well, right?
That is correct. Now, if you're actually making a transaction directly on the blockchain, that tends to be a lot quicker. You can just look at maybe 1, 2, 3 minutes in that case. It can be a lot quicker.
Right, because the exchange doesn't do any check before sending the amount.
They actually do those checks.
Oh yeah,
so,
the exchange does it, but not your
Yeah.
wallet. Sorry,
exactly.
that's what I meant.
You are the one that does
Yeah.
the checks with the wallet otherwise.
Yeah, correct.
Yep, correct. All
Cool.
right.
What's next?
So let's actually take a look at how you can get Cardano directly in Ledger Live. Let's say you're not using an exchange, but instead just using Ledger Live correctly. Directly, not correctly. Also correctly. Now first, let's actually finish off this part. So to continue at this point, press both buttons to verify the address, confirm address, and there we go. You can also see Ledger Live has just changed with address shared securely. So keep in mind, you cannot actually copy it at this point anymore. If you did still need to copy it, click on re-verify, and you will actually be able to go through the verification yet again.
That's cool.
So yeah.
And I've got a question, Roy. Like,
Yes.
you know, in Bitcoin, when you send to your account multiple times, your receiving address changes. Is it the same with Cardano or not?
Yes, an excellent question. Cardano is one of the very few proof-of-stake cryptocurrencies that also uses what we call the U2XO model. So what that comes down to is whenever you actually used a particular address, you will start getting a new one after that. So when it's received a transaction, a new one will be presented in Ledger Live.
And is it safe to use the previous address?
So it is, but for privacy reasons, it's not particularly recommended. See, the beauty of the U2XO model is, let's say I am, for example, a Cardano millionaire, would be great. But what could happen is my father might reach out to me and say, hey, Roy, I want to send you a little bit of Cardano. In that case, if I share an address that has a huge balance, my dad can suddenly be like, whoa, hang on, you actually have a lot, so why would I actually send you more? So what you can do in that case is give a brand new empty address, and they would have no idea of how much you actually have. So for privacy reasons, best not to, but for security, it's fine to reuse it.
Okay, that's good to know. I think a lot of people have this question because it's a little scary when you see your address changing.
Yeah, that's very understandable because, you know, when we're looking, for example, at traditional bank accounts, you have one bank account number, not one that consistently changes. So, yeah, the U2XO model is different in that.
All right. Are we going back in Ledger Live?
We are going back in Ledger Live. Okay. So let me just finish again confirming the address so we can actually move on in Ledger Live.
Okay.
So what I wanted to show you very quickly afterwards is how you can also get Cardano directly in Ledger Live rather than needing to have an account, for example, on Binance or Coinbase. Yeah, so you would indeed go to the buy sell section. Now here you would click on compare providers. Now we'll just keep it at the $100 worth, but here we need to change to Cardano. So here you would choose which account would receive it.
Which
I'll
one
just
do you
go
prefer?
to the Cardano test. Because spoiler alert, we're not actually going to finish. We just want to show you how that would work. Now here you would choose the payment method that you'd like to use. For this example, let's say Visa, for example.
All right.
So here you click on find eligible providers and you can see which options you have to purchase Cardano directly in Ledger Live for the settings that you gave. So here, for example, we said for the United States via Visa. If we change that, there might be more or less providers available depending on what they can offer.
Perfect.
Yep, and what's also pretty sweet here is that you really get a comparison, and there will be a little tag, which you can see next to ramp here, saying which one is giving you the best deal. So that's how you can actually purchase Cardano directly in Ledger Live.
And by the way, I think we've got something special on Thursday, right? We've got a Happy Buy Day. Happy Buy Day this week, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, maybe then you can tell me a little bit more about that one.
Well, so guys, Happy Buy Day is a monthly promotion on every Thursday of the month. You get the network fee. Well, the buying fees are waived. So if you buy within Ledger Live, you get a cheaper price.
Oh, excellent.
So, yeah.
And if I remember correctly, is it also shown in Ledger Live which providers participate?
Yep, there is a little tag, a little purple tag that will tell you like which provider participate, but most of them do. So you get quite good price. So if you guys want to buy some Cardano coins or whatever else, then you can do it on Thursday.
All right.
4 p.m. CT.
Pretty sweet. Cool. That being said, let's continue our Cardano journey. So we have now actually received some Cardano from Binance. So let me go ahead and go back to that same Cardano test account. Now you can see it hasn't arrived just yet because it comes from a centralized exchange. It can take a little bit longer. Now, one little tip though, what you can always do to check if it has arrived by now, in the top right corner, you will see synchronized. And if you click on that again, it will resynchronize real quick. Unfortunately, it still hasn't arrived, but we do have enough Cardano in the account already to start trying to test sending Cardano. So let's go ahead and do that. One thing that I want to show real quick before, give me just a second. Keep in mind, for sending, there are also, just like receiving, 2 spots where you can do that. So there's indeed the send button right here, but you also have it on the left side right here. Now keep in mind, if you have this view, and you might be like, wait, where is send? Just hover over here, and you can click on this button to expand it again. That being said, indeed, this button would already select the correct account, so I do tend to recommend that particular one.
Okay, let's go.
All right, so I do already have a Cardano address in my clipboard from verifying previously. So let's go ahead and paste that bad boy right here, and we'll press continue. Now here there is an important part actually to mention. See, with Cardano, you do need to send a minimum amount, and let me just show you by entering 0.1 Cardano, and you'll see that I cannot actually create this transaction. With Cardano, you always need to send a minimum of 1 ADA. You cannot send less than that. Now you might notice it says minimum sendable amount is 0.999. Maybe like, okay, but that's not 1. Well, the fees will actually fill the rest of that, so that's why.
Is that something specific to Ledger Live, or is just like...
No, that's indeed a rule on the Cardano blockchain. So
Okay.
even if you would not be using a Ledger device, you would still face that same situation.
Sounds good. What about the memo? Do I need a memo to send to an exchange, for example?
So that is an excellent point. This may vary depending on the exchange. So in some cases, the exchange will tell you that you need to put a memo. In that case, please make sure you do. Forgetting it can actually have some pretty bad consequences.
Like what?
Yeah, I was going to...
Sounds a little scary.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. It can potentially be. So it is actually very important. If you forget to put a memo and the exchange is requiring it, you could lose your Cardano. And let me actually clarify why. Now, this memo system is something that we do tend to see a little bit more in some other cryptocurrencies like XRP, Stellar. Those are very famous examples of it. Basically, what it would come down to is an exchange could use one single address for multiple users. Now, the way that you could still tell apart which amount belongs to who is via the memo.
That makes sense.
Yeah, for example, it could say to this address with memo 1 belongs to me. But if instead it says memo 2, it might belong to Dan instead. So that's the way that they can tell those transactions apart. If you forget to put it, well, the exchange will have no idea who it belongs to.
Yeah.
So it is important to
Yeah.
actually add it if the exchange requires it.
And it might or might not help you depending on if they have the bandwidth or the amount.
Yeah,
I guess.
correct.
Yeah.
So if you do forget to add it, it can, of course, unfortunately happen. In that case, we strongly recommend reaching out to that exchange because they are ultimately the only one who might be able to help you. Unfortunately, we at Ledger couldn't, for
We
example.
can't do anything yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct. It would already be in the hands of the exchange. So that's why.
Makes sense.
They just don't know who it belongs to in that case.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's next?
So let's go back to Ledger Live. So now let me first actually correct the amount because indeed this I cannot send. So instead, let's just make it 1 because this is a valid amount. From here, I'd press continue. I'll just have a quick little recap, see the majority of the address here again, and also see the amount. At this point, I'm going to press continue. Now at this point, I will be asked in my Ledger device to validate this. Ideally, I would have the correct address shown somewhere as well. For example, if I receive this address from an email, a text message, because one of my friends is asking for some Cardano, I would keep this next to my Ledger device for comparison. Now, it says here a new ordinary transaction. This is just a point where you press both buttons to get to the next point.
Okay.
Here, it says where I'm sending it to. So again, you need to verify this character by character to make sure that everything matches up. Just keep in mind, 1 character difference and you're sending it to a whole new address. So we'll just quickly take a look.
So here you're just using the right button, right? Previously you used both buttons, so you
Yep.
have to change it up.
Indeed. So if you're just trying to scroll to a next page, you would only use the right button
Okay.
or the left button. And you can also here see a little arrow that indicates that I can do so.
Okay.
Now, if I see that this address is not valid, absolutely do not sign the transaction. In this case, however, I do actually, by some parts, recognize that it is the correct address. Normally, you would put a little bit more effort into verifying it, but here I do know that this one is actually correct.
Okay.
So here I press both buttons to confirm it. After that, I see the amount. I press both buttons again. And keep in mind, this system of pressing both buttons many times is again unique for the Cardano app. For example, the Bitcoin app does not use it. Instead, there you would just be scrolling it with the right button and confirm from there. Now, after this, I will still actually see the fees related to that. Still an important part because you are sending that out too. I confirm it again with both buttons. And here I can either confirm or reject the transaction.
Okay.
Keep in mind, if there's anything that didn't match, I would absolutely reject it.
Okay.
Here, however, everything looks okay.
Okay.
So from here, both buttons, one more time, and this transaction is now on its way.
Perfect.
It's broadcasting and it is sent. And what I can just see is that my Binance amount just came in as well. Now keep something in mind, and this is the perfect moment to speak about this. You can see that this text here is in orange, and there's a little orange logo informed. This means not confirmed. Any transaction that is not yet confirmed should always be seen as you haven't received it yet. If for any reason this transaction stays stuck in being not confirmed, you would actually not receive the funds. So always wait until it's confirmed, and then you can actually consider it as properly received.
Okay. So you can't spend those funds yet, right? They show in the account, but you can't really use them.
Technically, you can already create a transaction with it, but that transaction can only start getting confirmed once the receiving transaction has been confirmed first.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
So what's next?
So why don't we actually go ahead and take a look at the transaction on a block explorer. So let's take a look at I would say the one that we sent maybe.
This one. Okay.
Yes, exactly. So right here, are we on the...
Not yet. Up.
All right. So here we actually can see the transaction. And something that we can already see is there are a few confirmations. So this transaction is going to go through. Pretty good to see. You can also see the amount that was sent. But what you'll notice is it says total out 0.7 Cardano. That's strange because we've only sent 1. That is because of how the U2XO system works. The way the UTXO system works is that you always need to spend the full amount of a previously received transaction. And if I scroll a bit further down, you'll also see here under U2XOs that I had a U2XO of 7.2 Cardano that I needed to spend. Now, of course, I'm only sending one Cardano to a different address, which you can see right here. The remaining amount, which is the 6.03 right here, is actually going back to an address that is under my control. This is what we call the change address. Now with Cardano, we do notice that some wallets, instead of using a change address, would send it back to the originating address. In this case, we can also see that that didn't happen because this address is different than this address right here. But it does tend to happen quite often with other wallets.
Okay. It's like a physical cash transaction, right? You give like a note and you get the cash back.
That is correct, yes. So, for example, if I give 10 euros to someone because I wanted to buy a coffee, the coffee costs 4 euros, I would still get a change of 3 euros. So, yeah, pretty comparable.
Okay, cool. So we've got 3 confirmation, and we'll just have to wait for a few more.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
All right.
And so what's next? Back into Ledger Live?
So yes, let's actually now take a look at how staking Cardano works.
Yeah, a lot of people have questions about staking. So,
and there are definitely some things to consider when it comes down to Cardano staking. So first off, there are 2 ways that you can actually start staking. So the first one is indeed the button right here. You can see stake. However, there's also, if you scroll down a bit, the earn rewards button right here. Now let's go ahead and click the stake one.
And they do the same thing, correct?
They do the exact same thing. So they'll actually bring you to this same page.
Okay.
Yep. Now, the first thing that's good to mention is when you're staking Cardano, you're doing something that we call delegating. On a technical level, what it means is you're delegating the right to potentially create a block for the Cardano blockchain to someone else, to a validator, basically. Cardano does work slightly differently, where you would actually delegate to a validation pool, but as an end user, you won't really notice the difference too much.
Okay. If at all.
Yep. Keep in mind, if you're delegating Cardano, it doesn't actually go anywhere. Your ADA will stay on the same address. It's not going anywhere. You still have it. So nothing to worry on that front.
Okay, cool.
All right, so let's go ahead and press continue. Now, at this screen, there's quite a lot to unpack. So first off, you're going to indeed see the Ledger validator right here. However, if you wanted to participate in a different staking pool, you can click on Show All, and here is actually the full list instead. Now, let's actually click on Show Less so that we can talk about a few more details that you might notice here.
Yeah, so commission cost 340 ADA. Like what?
Yes,
what's
exactly.
It about? Yeah.
So let's start with the commission. So the commission comes down to a certain amount of the rewards that a validator would actually keep to themselves. So this can, for example, be used to cover certain costs regarding the infrastructure needed. Keep in mind, a validator actually needs to run a node, for example, needs to create blocks for the blockchain, and for that you need dedicated hardware still. Now, it's true that it's not like proof of work where you need, those warehouses full of miners that are used, for example, for Bitcoin. But still, you do need to keep machinery running, will cost electricity, will require maintenance. So that's why we tend to still see a commission there.
That makes sense. What about the cost? Like cost 340, is that something you have to pay when you stake, or who pays for it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So no, that's indeed not what it means. So this cost does not come down to an amount that you are paying. This is actually a cost related to keeping the validation pool running. So it's not something that you are directly paying yourself. Don't worry. If you wanted to stake 100 Cardano and you're like, whoa, it costs 340, that's not the case. However, this cost is split between all the different delegators. That, however, might mean it's just a fraction for you personally.
A fraction of the rewards, so it doesn't cost you directly anything, right?
That's correct as well. It's deducted from your rewards, not from your balance directly. So, yeah. And again, it would really just impact a tiny piece, to be honest.
That is very reassuring.
Yep. So let's go ahead and actually proceed with the staking operation. So here you'll just get a quick little recap.
What's the deposit here? 2 ADA?
Yep, that was indeed the next part I wanted to get into. So when you start staking Cardano, you will actually need to deposit an amount of Cardano. Now, just like with, for example, renting an apartment, a deposit is something that you'll get back at some point. So this basically means you need to send out 2 Cardano, but when you stop delegating, you'll get that 2 Cardano back.
Cool.
So yeah, this is not something you've lost. It's just something that you temporarily won't have and will get back when you end the delegation.
Okay.
All right, let's continue. So at this point, I will need to sign the transaction on my Ledger device. So it is still called a new ordinary transaction. I'll press both buttons to confirm. And now you'll see the fees first. After that, you'll see the register staking key, and it will show the derivation path right here. Now, it is good to quickly just compare, make sure that it matches with what's in Ledger Live, but yeah. And after that, you need to confirm the registration. You might notice something here. I have not chosen how much Cardano I'm staking.
Yeah, so what's going on with that? You can't like delegate half your balance?
Indeed, you cannot. So with Cardano, it's either all or nothing. What that comes down to is either you're staking the full balance on the account, or you're not going to be staking.
Okay.
Now you might be thinking, okay, but don't I need to keep a little bit for fees or something like that? Cardano uses liquid proof of stake. So what this means is, although you are currently staking, your Cardano is not locked. You can still send it out anywhere that you want. Now you might be thinking, okay, but what would happen if I tried to send? Because there is still one side effect. You are at that point effectively delegating less Cardano and going to get less rewards.
Okay, so it's liquid, but it has to stay in your account to keep staking, basically.
To keep getting rewards, exactly.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
Also works the other way around. If you receive more Cardano, you're also automatically going to be staking more Cardano.
That's convenient. So you don't have to redo the transaction and
exactly. Everything is just automatically done. So pretty sweet on your front.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
No, we're not done just yet. I still have one final thing to sign right here on my Ledger device.
Let's go back into Ledger
Yep.
Live.
So I'll just press both buttons one more time. I can see where I'm delegating to. Pressing both buttons one more time. Staking keys mentioned again. And I can now confirm the delegation. There we go. And at this point, it is broadcasting, and I should now be staking. So if I scroll down just a little bit, oh yeah, it's not confirmed yet.
How long does it take to confirm?
Actually, let's find out. Can you click on the synchronized button?
Ah, yes.
Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, you explained that earlier. Sorry.
Yep. So let's see. It usually takes roughly 30 seconds, to my experience.
I've got a question. So once I've delegated, I've signed the transaction, will I get rewards immediately, or how does that work?
That is an excellent question. So no, you will not. With Cardano, the way it works is via something called epochs. Epochs are basically certain time periods that within which snapshots are taken for staking.
Okay.
So in Cardano, each epoch is 5 days.
5 days. Okay.
Yep. But you're not receiving your first reward until 5 epochs later, meaning 25 days in total.
25 days, okay.
Yep. So you will have to wait a little bit until your first reward.
And so that might be why, guys, you're not getting rewards immediately, because we got tons of questions about that.
Yeah, exactly. You don't get rewards immediately. It takes a little bit of time first.
Okay.
After, however, those 5 epochs, those 25 days, you'll get a reward every epoch, meaning every 5 days.
And the rewards will show in Ledger Live directly, I'm
Yes,
guessing.
Ledger Live does show them. Yep. So as a matter of fact, if we go back to Ledger Live, we can see actually that is now actually there. So you can see the delegation is now shown in Ledger Live.
Perfect. But I see something Well, no, not yet, actually.
No, for that we need to go to the other accounts. So actually, let's take a look at how the rewards would accumulate, because we did add another account for Cardano earlier as well.
That's true.
So here we are at the Cardano staking account, and if we scroll down, you can see that this one does have some pending rewards right there.
Nice.
So that is indeed how you would see the reward that you are currently accumulating.
Okay, and so there is a difference between this balance here, the available balance, the amount, and the rewards. So can you explain the relationship between those three different balances?
Yes, absolutely. So the available balance is basically what's currently on my normal Cardano addresses. If I actually go back to receive, let me just go ahead and do that real quick, skipping the validation, verifying of the address.
It's late.
Yeah, I need more coffee, it appears. So you can see that this address right here starts with ADRA1. That is a normal address. Where your rewards will accumulate actually starts with stake 1. So it's a different address type. The rewards that you see here are on your stake 1 address.
Okay.
And you cannot just straight away create transactions with that in Ledger Live. That's why the available balance is basically the amount that you see here minus the rewards that are currently on my stake 1 address.
Okay, that explains it.
Yep.
And so if you wanted to move, for example, I could move the available balance here
Correct.
out of the wallet, right? I don't have, like, it's completely liquid.
Exactly. Okay. So it's not locked. You can move it around as much as you'd like.
Okay.
Now, one thing to mention, because you might be like, oh, well, this part, should I actually start claiming it now? Because otherwise I'm missing out on rewards. Actually, you're not. And that's something pretty sweet with Cardano. They are actually what we call compounding, meaning any rewards that are on my stake 1 address, it would already be automatically generating reward of its own.
Okay.
So that creates a little bit of a snowball effect where you have a bit more rewards, staking a bit more. Bit more rewards, staking a bit more. And that keeps going on.
Okay, so maybe we can show like how to claim rewards real quick, and then we can take some questions from the chat. What do you think?
Yes, excellent question. Now, first off, actually, something worth mentioning. Claiming a reward is currently not yet available in Ledger Live.
Okay.
So if you click on the 3 dots here, you can change the delegation, which will not affect the rewards that you're getting. Okay. Pretty sweet. Or you can end the delegation. If you end the delegation, you would, of course, get that deposit back as well. But claiming rewards or moving basically from your stake of 1 address to a normal address is not possible in Ledger Live.
And ending a delegation would be pretty quick, right? It's just the time of a transaction.
Yes, exactly.
You don't have to wait too long.
No.
I think we can probably. So you were saying, you mentioned like it's possible to just claim the rewards, but not in Ledger Live.
Correct.
And it's doable via a third-party wallet, correct?
Yes, indeed. So Adelaide is a great example of that. Before that, something that I always like to mention regarding third-party wallets, because some of our users do tend to get a little bit worried when using their Ledger device with a different wallet. Not to worry, because the security still relies on the same principle, meaning your 24 words and private keys are on your Ledger device, whether you're using it with Ledger Live, whether you're using it with Adelaide, MetaMask, doesn't matter. So it remains secure. That being said, let's actually go ahead and go to Adelaide. So I'm going to unlock with my Ledger device. I'm going to get a little prompt here on my application on the Ledger device, asking if I want to export 6 public keys.
And that's safe, right? You're not exporting private keys?
Exactly. Okay. If it were private keys, that would be extremely concerning, but no, indeed.
Okay.
Public keys, as mentioned, public, you can totally accept that.
Public, safe, private, unsafe, guys.
Exactly.
Don't share.
So pressing both buttons will confirm this. Okay. And now Adelaide is going to open.
Cool.
And what's also pretty neat here, so we can actually close this screen, you see that my balance is already immediately there.
It's the same.
Exactly, because it gives you access to the same addresses and accounts.
All right, that makes sense.
Yep. Now, here I can also click on account 1, because I have more than one account. And if we scroll down, hey, that's the other account.
That's the other account.
So even that one is actually available in Adelaide as well.
Okay.
Now, that being said, we actually wanted to withdraw the rewards. In order to do that, we'll need to scroll up and click on staking. Now here you'll see the available balance and the rewards with a nice little withdraw button. So here you actually have the option to withdraw it. I would click on confirm, and from here I'll get a new ordinary transaction. Again, press both buttons. Here you'll see the transaction fee again. Press both buttons one more time. And here you would confirm the transaction.
Cool. Okay. And that's a feature that we can expect to see in Ledger Live at some point, right?
Yes, absolutely. We are looking into that. Now, we cannot, unfortunately, yet mention any date or anything like that, but rest assured, it's on our scope.
Okay. And do we know if this transaction will show in Ledger Live? Actually, we can verify that.
I believe it does, because I have done this before. Now, I will, of course, need to refresh real quick. If I scroll down, it hasn't shown just yet, but eventually it will.
It might later. And the rewards will be gone at some point. And
yes, absolutely. It would be back to zero at that point.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Roy, this is great. I guess we can take some questions now from the audience.
Yeah.
Prince, do we have any questions?
Yes, so first question is from SAU. How long does it take to get staking rewards? I have delegated my assets on 28th of August and still no reward.
Yeah, that would actually explain it. So 28th of August, that would still require a bit more waiting because it will take 25 days before you start getting your first reward. So that is actually to be expected.
And after you get your first reward, then do you get rewards every single day after that, or like how does it work?
Every 5 days, yes.
Every
so
5
an
days.
epoch
Okay.
in Cardano is 5 days, and every epoch you'll get a reward.
Okay.
Yeah.
25 days at first, and then every 5 days.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
Next question is, do we support NFTs on Cardano?
So NFTs unfortunately are not supported in Ledger Live, but you can use your Ledger device with a third-party wallet such as Nami or Eternal, and with those you can still manage Cardano-based NFTs. Cardano-based tokens, they're called Cardano native assets. We do have a selection of those that are supported in Ledger Live, so that is actually there.
Okay.
Good question, by the way.
Yeah. Any other
Okay,
questions?
is there any ETA on support for Cardano NFTs?
No, not that I know of. Maybe that might come in the future, but unfortunately, I really don't have any further information on that.
The thing with ETA is there is never an ETA, to be honest. Like, rarely an ETA. We avoid giving ETAs for this reason because we never know when.
Yeah, we don't want to disappoint people. You know, if we suddenly say like, "Hey, it's there tomorrow," and it's not there tomorrow, you know, we're disappointing people. So, yeah.
Next is from Carol. If Cardano is on my Yoroi, can you stake directly on Yoroi, or you need to send it to your Ledger Live?
So that depends how you're using Yoroi. So if you're using Yoroi without a Ledger device, then you will need to send it to your Ledger device first. But Yoroi is actually a compatible third-party wallet with your Ledger device. If it is via your Ledger device, add an account in Ledger Live, and you'll actually see that balance popping up right away.
Okay. So you mentioned Cardano NFTs, and you mentioned a third-party wallet. That's the way to manage NFTs with your Ledger device.
Yep.
Can you tell us more about it? Maybe we can show folks like how to do this.
Yes, absolutely. So what you would need to do is connect your Ledger device to something called either Nami or Eternal.
How do you spell Nami?
So it's Nami.
Yeah.
Yep. So we actually have it right here. Now, keep in mind, when you're using Nami, you will first need to create kind of a dummy account. It will ask you to create a new wallet, which will give you 24-word recovery phrase. Of course, that is not yet related to your Ledger device. As a matter of fact, what you can see on the screen right here, that is a dummy account. We will, by the way, first have to close at a light, otherwise we'll get a connection issue.
Good point. Yeah.
Because otherwise your Ledger device is trying to connect to both Adalite and Nami at the same time. That causes an issue.
Yeah.
So something to keep in mind. Now, to actually start connecting your Ledger device to the Nami wallet, you need to click on the little icon in the top right.
The little baby here?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then click on Connect Hardware Wallet. This will open a new little window. And here you can choose the device that you like to use. Of course, we're using a Ledger device.
And you need to make sure that the app is open on the device.
Absolutely.
Right?
Excellent point, actually. I almost forgot to mention that. Make sure your Cardano app is already open. Otherwise, this wouldn't work.
Okay.
So from here, we click on Ledger, continue. And from here, we'll actually need to select that NanoX, connect, and we can go for the defaults.
Got it.
All right, so that is successful. Now we click on Nami, and we need to choose the Ledger one. Yep. And here we are.
Oh, yeah, that's the address. Here we go.
The amount seems to vary.
It might be like a different derivation path.
That is likely. Oh, it's on. I remember actually what's happening. Sorry, this took a little bit for my brain to react. It only actually uses a single address. So that's something particular to Nami. It uses a single address. So it's not showing all the different addresses belonging to that XPub. Instead, it's only showing one address.
Oh, so you see everything in... so this is the combination of both your accounts in Ledger Live?
No, this is actually less. This is only one particular address from one account, rather than all the different addresses under the same XPub.
Okay.
So this is address number one, rather than all the different ones under the same XPub.
Got it. Okay. And so what do we do now? Like if I'm looking for my NFTs?
So at this point, there are a few ways. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the joystick button right here. Yeah, this is the collectibles tab. So unfortunately, I don't have any. So that's why you can see no collectibles right here. But your NFTs would show up here. An additional way to do it is opening a new tab and going to jpeg.store. I absolutely love the name of this NFT marketplace for Cardano.
Yeah, it's a great name.
Absolutely beautiful. This is, I think, a little...
Getting a little commercial
Yeah,
here. Oh,
exactly.
sorry,
So
guys.
you see Connect Wallets, select Nami. Now from here, we need to give access. And here we are.
Here's
now
the signatures.
Yep, exactly. And now on my profile, you can see it's one individual address. And here I will be able to see my NFTs on Cardano.
Yeah, you need to buy some NFTs, mate.
Yeah, unfortunately, indeed, I do not have any just yet. But, of course, I am on an NFT marketplace. So I could, at this point, actually explore all collections and maybe look at a very cheap NFT. Perhaps there's something that we can find and just quickly show how that goes. That being said, I would first need to find one that's pretty cheap.
Yeah, maybe we can give folks like a few, because we've demonstrated like how to manage NFTs.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
like
true.
a few, good best practices for keeping your coin safe, and maybe if there is new questions, not yet, but just general, best practices when using a Ledger device, and then we can probably close it at this point.
Yep, good point. So one thing that I personally always recommend when you're using anything smart contract related is you might want to choose to have a separate account for anything smart contract and a separate account for anything that you just want to basically safe keep. Because that way, if you accidentally sign a transaction that you probably shouldn't have, well, don't worry, the majority of your funds would not be affected by it. The biggest security tip that we can always give, however, is keep your 24 words safe. Remember, any third-party wallet should never ask you for your 24-word recovery phrase. It should never be entered in any app. It should never be given to anyone. Ledger will also never ask for it. So if you see someone saying, hey, I work at Ledger, give me your 24 words and I'll help fix your issue, that's an impersonator. It's a scam. Never do that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
What if I start my Cardano journey in Yoroi or Nami or like a third-party wallet and I want to move my funds to Ledger? Can I just import the recovery phrase that Nami gave me into my Ledger, or?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and one that we do actually get quite frequently. Absolutely not.
Why not?
The problem is the recovery phrase that Nami or Yoroi or any other wallet would have given you was on your computer. And that completely beats the purpose of using one of our devices. The whole purpose is with a Ledger device, it will never enter your computer. It will stay offline, away from any kind of online attacks. If it's even once been on your computer, there might be a trace of it, and that is a risk. So yeah, do not use a recovery phrase that you got from another wallet application.
Can I take a picture of it?
Absolutely not.
No?
So keep in mind there are plenty of tools that can actually scan pictures and read the text on it. So it's actually very trivial in order to actually get your 24 words in that.
Okay. Do you have any personal recommendations when you come to like securing a recovery phrase? I know it's different for, you know, everyone, but like general guidelines maybe.
Yeah, I do have some. So first thing that I personally recommend is if you have a certain amount is get yourself a metal backup. See, paper, I mean, ink will fade over time. Also, if there's ever any kind of leak, you know, it's a piece of paper. It can get destroyed quite easily. A metal backup is very, very durable. There are even some metal backups that would be resistant to fire up to a degree. So, yeah, if you really have quite a bit, it might be worth checking that out. Another thing that I personally do is divide it over different ledger devices as well.
Oh. Okay.
So that is, again, a little bit advanced maybe, but ultimately if, let's really assume the worst case scenario, and I hope this never happens to anyone, but let's say someone breaks in and basically says, give me your ledger device and recovery phrase right now. You know, of course, we never hope that it happens, but in that case, I could give one set and still have the rest.
Okay.
So, you know, again, we don't hope it happens, but...
So you keep like two backups, at least two backups with the same recovery phrase.
So that's another thing that you can do. So I was actually talking about different recovery phrases even.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. But another thing that you can do, indeed, and also very much recommended, is you can make sure that you have more than one ledger device with the same recovery phrase on it. That way, if one of your two ledger devices, for example, you accidentally drop it into the sink, it gets wet and doesn't work anymore, well, you still have a second one that's operational and you can immediately use it.
Okay, that's some pretty solid advice. Prince, do we have any questions before we close the session? Cool. I think, Roy, thank you so much. That was very interesting and we learned a ton. Okay.
Oh, we have a question.
Maybe one question and we can close.
I am competitive. He's asking, if I stake my ADA on Ledger through Yoroi, can I lose my ADA if Yoroi gets hacked?
So, excellent question. And thankfully, the answer is no. Yoroi would have no access to your private keys. Those are on your ledger device. And because of that, even if Yoroi would somehow be attacked or anything like that, your crypto would still be secured via your ledger device. If I'm remembering correctly, and I might be misremembering it, so I like to prelude with that, but I believe a relatively popular Ethereum wallet called Rabi was at some point exploited, I think.
One feature of Rabi, I think it was the swap.
Oh, the
feature.
swap, yes, exactly. Yeah. So in that case, for example, your ledger device had the private key, so that would still, I think, not be affected in that case? Or was it smart contract related?
No, I think it was just for users of the software wallets, but not people that had a ledger, for example. You would be safe.
Yep. And I think there was that Phantom case as well for Solana. That one was actually more high profile.
Yeah, but the same, as long as you keep using a ledger device, then you're safe, right? Like,
exactly, because the 24 words have never been on whichever third-party wallet, in your case, Yoroi, they've never been on there, should also never have been on there. But because of that, your private key is completely offline on your ledger device, and you're good.
This is perfect advice. Yep. Thanks, Roy. I think we can close it today. Thank you so much. We'll see you back, maybe a different video, different tutorial.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe, we'll see. Surprise. But guys, if you like the video, if you have any friends that are Cardano users, if you yourself want to watch the replay, you can share the link. If you have any issues, there is a link in the video description to the help center. You just click that, click contact us, and you can send us an email. We'll take care of you. Again, thanks a lot. Guys, don't share your recovery phrase. Don't get scammed. Okay, a lot of scammers all over the place. Anyone asking you for your phrase will try to scam you. So never share it. As for us, we'll be back. Prince will be back tomorrow, the two of us.
Tomorrow for the Twitter Live.
For Twitter Live. And you will be on YouTube,
Thursday.
On Thursday,
yep.
With Felix.
Correct. Yep.
And then, there'll be a session on Friday as well from the US and Monday as well. And there'll be a session every single day, guys. So if you like the video, like it, subscribe to the channel, share the video to fellow Cardano users, And for us, we are going to take a leave right now. But
Yeah.
thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and have a